This is how I see the US or America after living in the Caribbean for over 4 years now. So, this video is in reference to two videos I've been inspired by. One is 3 American myths I don't believe in anymore after living in Europe, and also how I see the US after living in Europe for 2 years. Those are two different people that are living in Europe with different experiences. I'm going to put my take on that. Okay. So, 4 years ago, I took a leap of faith. I made one of the biggest decisions of my life. I packed up, I left everything I knew behind, and I started a new chapter in the Caribbean, Jamaica to be exact. This is how I see the U.S. after living in the Caribbean for almost 2 years. Let's just say for almost 4 years, my bad. Let's just say it transformed me in ways I never expected, and today I'll share my honest thoughts. Okay, so one, the big thing for me that I noticed, and you will probably notice this wherever you are in the world or wherever you're going in the world. One of the most striking differences between the US and other parts in the world and in the Caribbean is the work life balance. All right, where I'm at, and again, this is depending on where you are, life moves at a slower, more intentional pace, right? People people prioritize living over working, and that's kind of unheard of in America. Your whole existence is centered around working, right? So we don't value time spent with loved ones as much. We don't value enjoying nature. We don't truly experience life, right? Because in the US, everything is all about the grind, everything is all about long hours and hustle, 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 okay? In Jamaica, I learned that, what's the phrase they use? It ain't going nowhere, or it'll be there tomorrow. I've seen this approach nurtures not just, not stressing about certain things, but it also just, centers around overall happiness. Now, some could say there's too much of a lackadaisical approach in which you have to find your sweet spot. You have to find your balance, right? And determine some things probably just are not as worthy of getting stressed and worked up over as we've been taught to believe, right? You're not. I'm not. I think. Well, I'm not gonna say you're not. We're probably moving towards a more. We're trying to get to a level of balance in America, but for the most part, it's you are working, and that's it. The next thing, community and connection. Being here in Jamaica, and again, this will probably translate to other parts of the world. Community is more of a factor than it is in America. Black people, we do tend to be communal, but again, we can be still kind of somewhat isolating. Again, that's the dynamics that we've been placed in. But community is very essential part, right? You find people to be more neighborly, uh, people be more talkative. More strangers just come up and walk up to you and talk to you and stuff like that. You have more of a sense of community that feels more refreshing to some, and can be a lot for some for some others. But in the U.S., life can be very isolating. Everyone is caught up with their own individual lives and schedules. Here, just a simple trip to the market or somewhere, you will probably end up somewhere you didn't even think you're going to end up that day, meet people you weren't planning on meeting, and everything can just turn into like a chat, or like you just coming across this new person you weren't anticipating on coming across. It's a way of life that values human connection more so over individuality, right? Now, again, with those things, you have to find your balance, because being too over on the other side can also lead to problems, but you're not so isolated and you're not feeling so like, oh, like I don't have people to connect with like on a regular basis. You can find that here. You can find it in the US too, but it might not. It can be a little bit more difficult and a bit more isolating. Okay. Peace of mind. I mean, are we starting to have discussions about, taking care of ourselves and resting and things like that? Yes. But is it embodied as much as it could be? Not yet. Not yet. So living in the Caribbean has allowed me to just be at peace. I have a level of safety within myself. Okay, that's relative. We're gonna talk about that. Okay, I have a level of safety within myself. I have a level of peace within myself that I really felt back in the States. Now, regarding safety, crime, yes, while it exists everywhere, okay, people have a reputation regarding Jamaica, so I'm not discounting anything before y'all get in the comments, okay? But in America, there's like this constant fear and like somebody gonna shoot up the place today. There's this constant vigilance, this constant like guns, war, and all this other stuff. Like, is that yours to be carrying? Probably not. All right, Jamaica ain't perfect, no, but you still have like somewhat of a sense of groundedness in the people, in a culture that's more at ease than in America. America is just guns and war and shoot 'em up, like culturally. Now, again, do these things exist in Jamaica? Yeah, that's another video. It's something that can be going deeper into. But as far as culture wise, America is the leader of the pack. I'm gonna put it like that. Okay, food and health. I don't think. Again, this is depending on where you're going, but a lot of the food in America is just not actually food, or it's very hard to get access to freshly grown, produced food. Okay, so the food in the Caribbean for me has been such a better experience. Having access to more I said fresho, having access to more fresh food, local food. Jamaica does do a lot of importing, but you don't have to eat the imported foods if you don't want to. You still have more access to fresh and local foods if you desire, and with it being less processed, right? Fast food culture dominates America. Eating out dominates America. Do I still eat out? Yes. I'm not saying that I don't, but even then, just in America, it's just really hard to just come across like some quality food without it like costing $1 million, right? Um, you just have easy access to homegrown food, right? And again, we don't understand how important it is until we start collecting all these health issues and health disparities like I was. And then you actually start to realize what's going on, because when you go to the doctor, oh, you just need to lose weight. Oh, you just need to do this. It's deeper than that, and a lot of stuff is hormonal, and a lot of stuff is throwing us off on the inside, and we don't know what's happening. And we try and go get help, we get dismissed. Ain't nobody really actually seeing what the issue is, right? So it has changed my health. I really got a better understanding of my health and how these things impact my health. So compare that to the heavily processed, expensive, healthy options in the U.S. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm very much grateful for having more access to fresher food than I would back in the States. Oh gosh, the next thing. Just the American extremism. It is like, one of the bigger surprises has been like not having, not say surprises, one of the bigger releases, not having to constantly have those conversations about politics and like, again, like I said, where I am, they do have their political rifts and their political differences and stuff like that. But America is like, our whole identity is shaped around this stuff. Uh, Republican, Democrat, or whatever. It's like, can we take a break and actually look and see what's happening, what's going on? Like, people do care about governance and stuff out here, but it doesn't dominate every interaction or create the same level of tension, right? People are more focused on their lives and creating a life for themselves instead of like this constant political debate, which, in my opinion, folks just need to start learning how to govern themselves and stop anticipating for government structures to do it. That's another video. Anyways, education and opportunity. I know a lot of people come to America for higher education and for entrepreneurship, and that's a big thing for a lot of people. And the U.S. can offer a lot of opportunities for that and a lot of experience for that. Um, but I also understand how limited access to these things can hold people back. And so in the Caribbean, I appreciate how the school system is not so geared towards like solely on the Western traditional educational standards. I'm not saying that those things are incorporated or they aren't entwined, but it doesn't rely solely on that. Learning isn't just about being in the classroom. You learn about culture, you learn about history, you learn about those traditional ways of educating like we used to have. You have more of a balance with that. Whereas you go to school in America, you're going to get the history that they want you to have. You're going to get the information that they want you to have to function how they want you to function. And I appreciate them having more of like a involved way of educating and growing students out here. Entrepreneurship and ambition. In the U.S., entrepreneurship, it depends, right? So I give credit for my drive and ambition for certain things, like for certain experiences that I have for being in America. Like I can't say that I didn't get anything, but living outside of America has taught me something equally valuable. That ambition does not have to come at the expense of joy. You can be more centered around other things as outside of constantly being on the go, constantly worried about a career, and not just be solely fixated about earning money, right? There are other things that make up and contribute us to being full functional humans outside of those things. Like you can have the drive, you can have the ambition, but learning how to balance and find that equilibrium is always going to be important. So living in the Caribbean, living in Jamaica, or living outside of America, I'll say, has given me a perspective that I probably would not have gotten there. And while I do appreciate some aspects that I got from being born there and growing up there, I've come to embrace a life rooted in balance, connection, and just more intentional living, right? It's not perfect. No place is. The important thing is finding a place where you feel at peace, you feel at home, and where you feel like you can just mesh in with that environment naturally. And for me, that place is here in the Caribbean and in Jamaica. So, thank you for watching. If you are interested in moving to Jamaica, I'll put some resources below. You can check out Black Expats and Repats in Jamaica, where we help more with that portion of the process. But that's my video. That's my take on how I see the U.S. after living in the Caribbean for 4 years. All right. So let me know what you think. Put it in the comments.